have to start figuring out what those Brazilian refs say. Forget the word.
Boha?
I need the app.
Yeah, Pimsleur.
I'm about to feed him to the sharks right now. Get him hype right now. Yeah. You know the ground is up. Yeah. Everybody that trains, you know the game. Yeah. So let's get it. Slap it up, bump it and roll. Hey. Yeah, that's the way that it goes. Ain't no better way to better yourself in this game. You're feeling the growth. That's time on the mat. We put in the work. Believe it ain't easy, I know. But we train for the love of the game, the love of the art. Now slap it up, bump it, let's roll. Let's roll, let's roll, let's roll, let's roll, let's roll.
Welcome to episode 18 of the BJJ Campaign Podcast. My name is Jeff Boone. I'm an A3 blue belt, one stripe.
This is Phil Kors, A2, blue belt, no stripes.
Wow, I really thought you were going to screw that up, Phil.
I was very confident I was going to. Told Landon and John I was nervous about it today.
Yeah, man, congratulations.
Thanks.
That's a big step.
Yeah.
Big step.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of cool. So I got the blue belt today, and then immediately rolled with everybody and felt more like a white belt than I ever had before.
For the listeners, our upper belts, whenever we get our blue belts, we're honored with getting a role that is not compassionate as we're accustomed to
Yeah.
with them.
Starting to think people have been holding back a little bit.
Yes, Phil.
I mean, a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he, three black belts, 2 brown belts.
Yeah, I don't know. Steve was the only black belt though.
Oh, Steve, what? Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
John had to take off, and I tried to grab Ryan, but he had to leave
Okay.
as well. I'll catch him Friday.
Yeah, of course. It'd be great. It was a terrible. My blue belt roll with Ron was absolutely awful and smothering and demoralizing and every other expletive that you could say.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. So let's build up to it,
Okay.
if we will. So you rolled with Wilfredo.
Yeah, fantastic. He's one of, for how I guess how little I get to train with him, one of my favorite people, because it seems like every time he just points out something that just seems so groundbreaking for me, or just mind blowing, whatever word you want to use. Love training with him.
He
Really
always gives the little hints, right? He gives them up freely.
Yeah.
And he only does it, it's pretty weird. Yeah, just for the audience, Wilfredo is a brown belt, 2-stripe at the Charlotte Academy, the headquarters, and I've had the pleasure of training with him for a couple of years now, and he only seems to give the advice when you're ready to hear it. You know, have you ever noticed that? Like every little thing that he says, you're ready to hear. Like I'm not. You know how it is sometimes whenever someone tells you and then you immediately forget it and never do it.
Oh
again.
yeah. That's happened countless times. I can remember exactly what he's told me because it's happened 3 times. He fixed, I don't want to say fixed because I'm not obviously great at it, but he greatly improved my Gracie pass, stack pass, from absolutely nothing to the poorly below average mediocre pass that I have
Right.
now. He told me my feet were coming off the ground shrimping and bridging, and now today was helping with grips while passing and some other passing details, and it's awesome, really. Really.
But
He
the
rolls
role.
hard. He's big. Honestly, I don't even think he's that big, but he rolls like he's that big.
Yeah,
he's
he's
very
not that
heavy. Uses pressure well, and that's my goal. For whatever reason, I seem to gravitate towards that, and that's what I want to be good at. I don't really want to be good at the fast stuff right now. I don't know. It'll probably change. Everything does, but
Sure.
the pressure passing intrigues me. It's what I want to try to figure out, and that's what he does. And it sucks when he's doing it, but it's. I mean, he tells you how to do it, and that's all you can ask for. And I really appreciate rolling with him and the things he helps me with.
Yeah,
But that
absolutely.
was the first one, and it was tough. His belly's super good. You know, he puts it right
It's
in the
horrible.
middle.
It's horrible.
Right in the
I mean,
middle.
horribly good, but
Yeah.
horrible. Demoralizing even.
I mean, I can't get out of poor neon bellies, so like it's tough. But yeah, started with him, and then Nick Sprito, another brown belt.
4-stripe brown belt, Nick.
Yeah, he just
Excellent tactician.
passed my guard so fast.
Yeah.
Took my back and did the triangle from the back.
Yeah.
It was tight.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh, is that the reverse triangle? He's like, not really. It's kind of just a triangle from the back. Then he reverse triangled me, and he was like, that's the reverse triangle. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
That was cool. Learning something else. A couple other things with him, but that was fun. And then he rolled with Charlie,
Charlie, purple belt, 4 stripes.
one of the instructors with us in Denver, who would like to get on here soon. Rolled with him, and same as always, man. Just used what I like to use against me. Thought it was funny. He started the triangle as I was trying to pass and switched over to the arm bar. Kind of looked at me and went, "That's your arm bar." And I was like, kind of. You're way better at
It's
it.
a little bit of cruelty using your own game against you.
That's fine. You know, see where,
Blue belt roll.
yeah, see where I'm messing it up and where I can do it better.
Yeah.
And then rolled with Steve.
Professor Steve Hall,
Yeah, that was interesting.
our fearless leader.
Yeah, it was different.
He's a magician.
It's
He's
different
a
than
wizard.
everybody else's. I mean, he's by no means like the biggest guy.
No.
That was the worst side, like that pressure I've ever experienced. I couldn't move. I think I might have told you once or twice today since then, because I was mind blown at what happened. I couldn't shrimp, I couldn't bridge. I couldn't like do those little bumps to get my arm out. It was just trapped to my chest. I was like, I don't know. This is like day one. I have no idea what to do. Everything I know to do is not working, and I can't move, and this sucks.
It's
It
horrible.
sucks, yeah.
Yeah. It's horrible and it's fun all at the same time.
It's crazy, like to know that's. I get people don't want to always just like drive their shoulder into me, because a lot of the dudes are like 50 pounds heavier than me, just starting out with, so they don't, there's not a whole lot to gain from just smashing me through the floor.
Mm-hmm.
But I have not experienced that before.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cool, because now I know I gotta fix it, because I don't know what to do.
Obviously, until I gave you your blue belt roll and put my shoulder pressure on.
I'll get to the easy rolls later. And so that was incredible. He did submit me like 10 times in 32 seconds. And it's funny because it's like no matter what I did, it was just like, all right, we're going this way. Submission, we'll go that way. So, it's awesome. It was so much fun.
It's danger everywhere. Doesn't matter where.
Yeah. The wrist locks today.
You're open to that now. You're blue
Yeah.
belt, Phil.
So that was fun. They're everywhere, obviously.
How many did Wilfredo get you in?
Probably like one or two, but he's always done it with me.
Yeah.
And I like that because it's like you don't expect it. Charlie kind of does it now and then with me as well. When I put my hand, I think somewhere excessively dumb, he'll kind of just point it out and do it. The same thing like Wilfredo does. Like a lot of times he just kind of grabs it and it's like we both know, like that was not the right place for my hand, but and
He doesn't finish it. He just like has it and lets you know, hey,
Yeah,
here it
and
is.
that's,
This is where you're supposed.
I kind of look at him and I'm like, all right, cool. Didn't know that. So yeah, but a bunch of wrist locks today, and people were kind of going for it a lot more. And just kind of it's cool because it's just something totally new and something else to think about. And yeah, so and then after that was Bill Ziegler triangled me a bunch of times as I'm working my
Purple
over
belt,
underpass.
really good purple belt.
Phenomenal triangle. I mean, it was tight. All of them.
His legs feel like a vice.
All 4 or 5 triangles were super tight.
And why did he triangle you? Because you were baiting the.
Not necessarily. I was going for the over underpass and just zero success rate today. It did help me with it, and that's like actually the same position that I end up in a lot with the back, the one knee kind of like shielding me so I can't get around, and then the other leg high on my shoulder, just destroying my posture. And I'm kind of ignoring that one, or when I try to switch, I try to go far outside, and he was helping me to go back in and kind of stack forward on that leg to address that, because that's what my biggest issue is. And I was like, yeah, that's a good point. So that was fun. And then I think that was pretty much it for the upper belts. And then my light rolls was Jeremiah, who smashes me all the time, and Jeff. Jeff was easy. So that was no big deal.
So true.
No big deal there.
So
But it was
true.
fun. It was fun. But again, I feel nothing I tried to do today worked. It was awesome.
Yeah. No, it's always a good day. You know, you're always happy. Even though I think we've said it before, I mean, our goal isn't any of those belts, or my goal isn't any of those belts. My goal is to do this for as long as I can.
Yeah, it's to be good.
Yeah.
The belt didn't help me be good today, you know?
No.
It just kind of didn't matter. There was a lot of smashing going on, a lot of my back on the floor.
Yeah. And then, shortly after, well, no, it was actually before that, before we started rolling. And folks, this is, you know, I see it in the Facebook forums and all the jiu-jitsu forums, and people call it archaic, people call it a rite of passage. We do a gauntlet. I mean,
Right.
That's what we do at Fight to Win. I'm sure if you talked to the professor and said, hey, I really don't want to do this gauntlet, where if anyone's unfamiliar with the gauntlet, it's where you go around and the entire team gets to strap you on the back with their belts. Quite generally, you know, when you're a lower belt, you don't hit as hard. When you're upper belt, you hit harder, right? I mean, it's just one of those things. And so you got to go through the gauntlet today.
Yeah.
How was that?
There's a lot of people. Like, I
That
feel
was
like,
probably
there was like 100 people there.
100 people in
There
there.
was so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's cool. I mean, it's what people do. I think I guess I understand where people come from when they say it's archaic or whatever. But to me, I saw everybody else do it, and like it's kind of like that rite of passage or whatever. Even if I had an option, I would have still went through it. You know.
Yep.
I
Same here.
Like I think, like you said, I agree. I'm pretty sure if I was like, I really don't want to do it, they'd be like, all right, you don't have to, or
I mean, we would mock you and make fun of you for
yeah,
a little while.
and I would
but it would be
expect
over.
that, you know.
Yeah.
But again, even if I had a choice, I would have walked through it because it's what everybody else does, you know, and that's what you do when you get promoted, and it's not going to kill you. You'll be all right, you know.
No, and jiu-jitsu is hard.
Yeah.
It's much harder than the gauntlet.
Yeah, agreed. It was Steve Hall's side control pressure was way worse than the gauntlet.
Exactly.
Way worse.
Exactly. That's what you should fear.
So yeah, and we talked about it before, and I've heard it before, but Jocko said it, I can't remember if it was a book or a podcast interview, whatever. Part of the reason, I think it was the SEAL teams he was talking about, and I think that's why some of my best friends are from jiu-jitsu is, he said, you know, people who do hard stuff together tend to bond closer and bond better, or whatever the phrase would be, but that makes a lot of sense to me, because it's like the people who go through that process, because everybody sucks at first, and nobody knows what's going on, and everybody gets smashed, and it's the process. You get the blue belt, and you get smashed today, you know. And it's cool to, when that happens, you see how big those levels are, right? Like,
Yeah.
like you know, people want to get a blue belt and feel like they understand some jiu-jitsu and have an idea, and then you just roll somebody purple belt or brown belt, and you see the difference in the levels and the experience and the skill difference through practice practice and time they've spent, and it's cool to know, number one, that it exists and you can get there, and yeah, you know, it was a really cool experience.
Yeah, and you said to remind you what Ryan told you?
Yeah. Right before the gauntlet, I was about to walk through, and Ryan kind of reaches over, and he goes to me. He kind of like slaps his belt in his hand and goes, "This is one of my favorite techniques." I was like,
For those of you that don't know, Ryan's one of our instructors, and we have fun and poke fun at him because everything he does is one of his favorite techniques. He's really good at jiu-jitsu, and we get a good laugh. So
he's so funny, man. He's so funny.
It is hilarious. And so, you know, I look at the belts. I mean, again, we've said it before. I look at the belts in that it's experience, it's time, it's hard work, it's dedication, and as we referenced in the talent code, it's not because you have any special talent. I hate to burst anyone's bubble. It's not because you have any certain talent. Those people who you know, the BJ Penns of the world that got their black belt in 3.5 years. I mean, those people put in that hard work and that same amount of time, that 10,000 hours that it takes to be proficient at something, and they put that in. So I just look at that and think, I want to get there as fast as I can, so I'm just going to do it as much as I can.
Sure, yeah.
You know? And I think we talked about this on one or two of the other episodes, but you know, the promotions, it's not always the happy feeling, right, that you had like getting the blue belt. Sometimes people feel left out if they don't get a stripe, if they don't get a belt when they feel like that they're ready for it.
Sure.
What would your advice be to those people?
To me, they don't necessarily matter, you know, and that's kind of how I've always felt. Going back to like the first time I saw somebody get a stripe, I think was Oleg, like a day or two before me. I was like, what is that? You know, I had no idea.
For the audience, Phil's not the most observant
not
person.
No, yeah, everybody had stripes on their belts apparently. No idea. I noticed there were different colors, but yeah, stripes. I missed that one. And again, it's like, you know, it goes back to you get the goal. I know you have the same kind of mindset I do, where the goal isn't the belt; it's to be like really good at jiu-jitsu. That's what I want. Like, I think it sucks to suck at jiu-jitsu. Like, I don't like it. You know, I don't like that. There's a lot of people who can just like take me down, pass my guard, smash me, and submit me. I don't like it. It's still fun. I'd love to do it.
Yeah.
But I would much rather be on the other end of it, you know?
Sure.
And that's what I'm working towards. And I don't care what I'm wearing. It's not going to affect that.
Right.
That's all I care about is getting better or trying to get better the best I can. The process of getting better. That's the fun part for me. We can roll gi or no gi, or I've said before, John was like, yeah, you're going to wear the pink belt from now on. I'd be like, all right, fine. You know, like, all I want to do is train and get better.
Yep.
I think, you know, I guess, dude, I don't even know. Like, it takes, I think the average time from what I understand is about 10 years to get a black belt. Like, if you're only in it to get promoted, this is a weird hobby. Like, that's, you could do a
You're
lot
not going to get that instant gratification, if you will.
You could do a lot of hobbies that you could get, you know, that level up feeling if that's what you're after.
Sure.
This one doesn't seem to be it. It takes like 10 years to get to the highest rank, and then like John Shella said it, and where he's like, I can tell if you've been a black belt for 1 year, 3 years, or 20, you know, and like that never stops, right? Like, and the cool thing about us starting now, there's always going to be so many people that we're always going to learn from. You know, and you learn from everybody. But, like, there's people that started 20 years ago, and they have a limited amount of people who are way better. You know.
Yeah.
They're always going to be at the top of most people. Where we're always going to have people who have 10 plus years experience on us. No matter what, and there's always going to be something to learn from all those people, and you do learn from everybody.
Yeah.
But there's a difference. Like getting smashed today by everybody, just again, just makes me want to figure it out, or figure. It's been a long time since I've been smashed onto the floor where I was like, all right, I just don't know.
Yeah.
Like there's been times where I've been tired and pinned down where I'm like, I'm just gonna wait for him to do something. I'm gonna wait for him to open up space. Today was like, all right, I'm literally just waiting till he's ready to move and decide where we go next.
Yeah.
And that just kind of relights that feeling that I had when I first started, where I'm like, this sucks. I need to figure something out.
Yeah. No, agreed. I agree with everything you said there. I mean, I had the same mindset, but not everyone does, and so here's the advice that I would give for that person that's feeling left out on a day of promotions is that set goals. Make sure that you're moving towards a goal, whether that's good.
What's the goal though?
To get
The goal
better.
needs to be to get better.
To get better, but it has to be in specific areas, right, that apply to what you would perceive to be what will get you to that next level, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. And to go along with that, talk to your professor. Let's not start the conversation on why didn't I get a stripe or why didn't I get a belt. That's probably not the best way to approach it. The best way to approach it.
Really weird conversation.
That would be good.
Can't imagine ever trying to have
Super weird conversation. Yeah. But my advice would be take a couple weeks, kind of write down your goals, figure out, what you're going to be working on, whether it's the self-defense aspect, whether, like me a couple months ago, my triangle was trash, so I worked on my triangle, right?
But see, at the same time, your triangle still sucks if you try to use it against anybody better.
No, I've gotten triangle on people who are better. It still sucks, Phil. I'm not saying that. I haven't finished it. They immediately passed my card.
I feel like the goals is the wrong word because it's almost like you're.
How about a game plan?
Better,
right?
Because I feel like
right.
I feel like you're just wrong saying you're like done with your triangle, and I know that's not what you're saying. But at the same time, it's like like it's always working on everything, and what we both do is just always are looking back at the roles and the training we just did to where did I get stuck, what's happening. If I back up 1 or 2 steps, why do I keep getting to the same spot where I'm getting submitted? Like I don't like Joey ankle locked me, whatever it was, like 40 times, but it was always off of the sweep, and I was like, why am I getting swept the same way to keep falling in a position? Like I don't really care about defending the foot at this point. Like I need to defend two steps ago as to why I keep ending up in the same situation. I think you do the same thing all the time.
Well, I think we try to correct it. As we said in the book, The Talent Code, The Deep Learning, is whenever it happens, we try to correct it. Obviously, when we're rolling with an upper belt or something of that nature, like Mark, who just got his brown belt today, whenever he got me in that toe hold, I was like, hey, wait, what did you do there? And whenever I was rolling with him the other night, he went back through that same toe hold, and I did what I should have done, and he didn't get me in a toe hold.
Right.
So that deep learning of correcting the mistake right away, and again, they're going to finish it, but then you ask, if you ask anybody, they're going to tell you the setup. Maybe they don't know why, but you'll figure it out.
I think game plan is a lot better of a word than set goals because it's going to, I don't know, I feel like the process of getting better is like what we do when we run into those roadblocks, because it seems to be a pattern for me. Like I get triangled all the time. It's been that way since I started.
Sure.
But I'm going to continue trying to pass the guard with pressure until I figure it out. And then I won't get triangled as much.
Right.
But that's just think John said to me when I tried to stack him one time, and he kind of looked at me and went, "Live by the sword, die by the sword." You know, and I was like, it's a good point. You know, I built triangle like 4 or 5 times today, and I was like, I'm keep coming back. Like you have a really good triangle. I figured if I can slow yours down, it might work against somebody who's not so great.
Yeah.
You know, like that's just keep playing with the same stuff and trying to improve all that stuff. I don't.
Yeah, I agree with you on the game plan, and then after you have a couple weeks to think about it, develop the game plan, go back to your professor and say, hey, here's my game plan. This is what I'm working on. Does this seem like it's something that's reasonable? And they'll give you the feedback.
Yeah.
They're happy to talk to you. John's always giving me feedback whenever I do that. I do that every probably 6 months or so. If I feel like I'm stale or just feel like I want to get over another hump, I'll take it to him because he's really good at jiu-jitsu and knows how to make people better at jiu-jitsu. So, why not talk to your professor? That's what they're there for. And so that, along with, and we've said it a million times before, take notes. If you're not taking notes, you're not activating that. And very few times do I refer back to my notes to actually know a position. I go back to my notes to write more details in whenever we cover it again, but just that activity of writing it down either on paper or in our premier sponsor, my BJJ Notes, on an app on the iPhone or Android, just that act kind of solidifies it in your brain. It makes you catch the details, review the details, and retain more of the details just by actively taking those notes.
I agree. Yeah.
And lastly, the last recommendation I will give is just train. Train more. Make your training meaningful. Train with a purpose, and just do jiu-jitsu. And everything else will work itself out.
Yeah. I think that's the only recommendation that works.
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah. I don't mean to crap all over your goals idea. I just think.
Goals is a bad term. I think game plan is a better term. Game plan. For performance.
Because that's for at all times. That's not necessarily just for trying to get a stripe or a belt or something. I feel like you should always be doing that and always looking at what's working and what's not working, and if it's not working, why.
Again, that's the difference, right? Is that I've never felt left out at a promotion. Right. I fully trust John in guiding us on this campaign. And I fully trust that whenever it's time for promotion that he decides, it's going to happen. And I feel like, and that helps me also not have doubts about, whenever you see it, you hear it whenever somebody gets a blue belt and they're like, I don't know if I deserve this. I'm
Right.
getting smashed by, the 3 or 4 stripe white belts. Well, there's no magical powers.
Yeah.
In that piece of cloth that's wrapped around your waist.
Definitely agree with that.
There isn't. So that's why you trust your professor. That's he's done this a number of times.
Well, at the same time too, it's like, if you're planning on doing this long term, right? And say it takes 10 years to get a black belt. Right?
Sure.
Exactly 10 years.
Yeah.
So I kind of still plan on doing this like 15 years from now, and if I didn't get it today, say I was going to get it in the April promotions, like I don't think in 15 years I'm going to look back and be like, yeah, I would have been better off if I had gotten it 2 months earlier.
Yeah, man, that was bullshit. I didn't get my promotion 2 months earlier. It just sounds silly even saying it.
Yeah, it is silly.
Thank you.
Again, the goal is to be good. I plan on doing this a long time. I'm happy I got it. It's very cool to get some a little bit of recognition that I kind of know a little bit about jiu-jitsu. That's pretty
Very
cool.
little bit, but yeah.
But at the same time, that's
No, it is not the goal. It is not the goal. And we got a long time of sucking before we're good.
So long. I feel like you're always gonna think that because there's always like there's people who've been training for 10 years, like not going anywhere, you know. They're
I
always
can't
gonna be there.
wait though to be as good as they are now, so that I'll learn even more from them later. Whenever they still kick my ass as they did before, and maybe they won't.
Yeah, and I think the learning curve
Probably will.
is gonna be a little bit shorter for us because you have like when you train with them, all of my terrible habits and things I do wrong, it just it just doesn't work. I've used the expression where it's like they just like don't try that bullshit. That's not gonna work, you know.
Yeah.
I'm going to just technique right past that. You know, there's no being quick, there's no being strong. It's the technique is gonna win. And they eliminate it. So they make you they make you get better faster. And I feel like that's just gonna continue. And we're really lucky to have that.
Oh, I agree. We're lucky to have that. We're lucky to kind of be training in this time. I mean, if you think about it, whenever Steve and John were coming up training, it had to be a lot harder, right?
Yeah.
Because there were very few black belts. There was not much. I mean, there wasn't even YouTube probably whenever they were first starting, right?
Yeah. I don't know how long you
Pretty
been
like
around.
10 years maybe.
Yeah. I mean, even Ryan said today, when he got his purple belt, he was at the front of the room.
Yeah.
Now purple belts are halfway back almost.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a lot of purple. We had what, 3 purple belts today? Award? I think it was 3.
I think so.
Yeah, and 2 brown belts,
Two
Jamie
brown
and Mark. Yeah, and 2 brown belts. I mean, we're lucky that we're training today where we have the experienced people that can beat the crap out of us and teach us.
Yeah.
And where it's the information age where we're able to, if I'll give you for example, whenever I was going down to train at Fight to Win in Spartanburg with Ben Holder, who's the coach there, I knew Ben loved the baseball chip. He still loves the baseball chip, right? And so before I went down there, I looked up on YouTube how to counter the baseball chip. He still choked the shit out of me, but I at least had an idea of what to do whenever I got down there in doing that. And that's a luxury that we have today that wasn't available 10 years ago. So I feel like we're very lucky in that respect. What else, Phil?
I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Man, I'll tell you, yeah, I think just appreciation. I think that we live this and we look at it and we love it, and just the appreciation. I told you today, I'm so proud of you. Your campaign is right there alongside my campaign, and it's I'm so appreciative for that. I appreciate you. I appreciate John. I appreciate everyone, Dion, Charlie, everybody that trains with us, because, man, we've said it before. We'll say it a million times again. It's hard. Jiu-jitsu's hard, and people don't like to do hard things a lot of time. And this is the hard thing that I really like to do, because I haven't really found others that I really like to do like this.
Mm-hmm.
And
100%.
yeah, and just that expression of appreciation.
I also think we're lucky, like being on the team we are with people who want to train all the time. Like, it's happened one time, and it was on Christmas, where I'm like, man, nobody's opening today. It's been off. Like, I can't do anything. And it
Yeah, because we've been off a whole day, right?
Yeah, well, I was just like, man, like, I'm glad the schedule works the way it does. I'm glad you open up on Sundays, because for the longest time, that was my only day off. and that's kind of how that habit formed. And now I train every Sunday regardless. But like to have a day where nobody was able to train and nothing was open that I knew of, like it sucked, And I can imagine if the team wasn't so big and as much as people want to train, like I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who run into that all the time, and that's not fun.
Sure, we're in a metropolitan area, right? We've got a big population base around here, and jiu-jitsu is growing, and our team is growing, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people in rural communities that just don't have that benefit. So we are very lucky to, and I'm just super appreciative. I appreciate all the listeners. I appreciate all the feedback that we get, and I think that just taking time out of this to express that, I think it's really important.
Yeah, and again, I definitely agree with everything you said. Like having you want to go all the time, like I want to go all the time anyway, but like there's always that same, like if I know you're going, I want to go.
Same here.
I want to figure out what you're figuring out. I've said since I started, my goal is to be better than you, which is a ridiculous goal, but it's just kind of a funny goal.
It'll happen.
But at the same time, it's like I don't, it's just fun, when everybody else wants to train, everybody wants to get better, and you see that, and then it's fun to help people who I can help. It's cool when everybody helps me.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yep, it's a big circle. Everybody's got things that you can learn from.
Okay.
The newest white belt to the most seasoned black belt. So, Phil, tell the audience how they can support us.
Facebook, Instagram, little Twitter. I gotta figure that out.
We got a Twitter page?
Yeah, we got a Twitter page.
Awesome.
Well, a couple links on there. I don't tweet a whole lot. I'll get that going a little better.
Yeah, and if you guys
want more Instagram stuff, I gotta figure out how to.
We rocked hard at Instagram today.
We got some good stuff.
Good stuff today. If you guys want to see Philly's promotion, got a video up of whenever he got called up for his Faixa Azul, and I also have a couple pictures.
That was
I'm learning.
Ridiculous.
That's Portuguese, Phil. If you didn't know, I'm learning on the Pimsleur app right now. Okay, because we told Francisco, we gave him our word that we were going to learn a little bit of Portuguese before we came back to the Origin Immersion Jiu-Jitsu camp, and I'm making good on that promise right now. It took me 6 months, but I'm making good on that promise right now. So that's my first one, Faixa Azul.
Nice.
I mean, it's probably wrong, but it's okay. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Well, no.
Blue belt, so it's blue belt. So we've got those pictures up. Also, if you have any suggestions, message us on Facebook. Let us know what topics you want us to cover. We're always looking for it. We're going to have some more guests here in the near future. I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
And anything else?
I don't know. I'll tweet it if I think of something good.
Get mad at tweets. Tweet the deeds.
There you go.
So anyway, guys.
Jeff will never say that again.
I will not ever say that. If you're not doing something to make yourself better, get out there and do it. Hopefully it's jiu-jitsu. Peace.
I'm about to feed him to the sharks right now. Get him hype right now. Yeah. You know the ground is up. Yeah. Everybody that trains, you know the game. Yeah. So let's get it. Slap it up, bump it, and roll.